We continue to follow the fallout from a major ice storm that hammered Ontario's cottage country over the weekend. Power company officials report 400,000 customers are still without power this hour, and repair crews are working hard to restore supply. The Weather Network's Michael Van is in Barrie, about 90 minutes north of Toronto, with the latest.
Several areas are continuing the cleanup after this weekend's massive freezing rain system left towns just encased in ice, and the cleanup is going to take a long time. Doesn't matter where you are, Peterborough, Barrie, Orillia, you don't have to go very far until you see the impacts. And let me show you around what we're seeing here in Barrie right now. The trees are down around power lines. We've actually passed a lot of places where lines are just completely down altogether. Full, massive trees have come completely down, just completely uprooted. The reason, of course, is from that ice system. There are still remnants of that ice around as well. Still continuing to melt, still continuing to encase parts of trees and things around. Of course, lots of people without power. At the height of the system, we saw about 600,000 customers across the board without power. Those numbers are coming down, but you can expect to see between 2 and 3 days before most people are going to get the power back. Unfortunately, we've got some below freezing temperatures over the next couple of nights. So if you are in Barrie, there's a warming center set up at the Allendale Recreation Center. Orillia also has a warming center set up as well at the Recreation Center there, but they are asking people not to come unless you absolutely have to, just for capacity reasons. So as the cleanup continues, do what you can to keep yourself and your family safe and to stay warm.
I want to bring in Cody and Kelsey McDonald, who were impacted by the ice storm now. We've reached them in Lindsay, Ontario. Hello to you both. I can only imagine.
How's it going?
Wow. Well, I'm fine. But how are you doing? What was it like dealing with this storm on the weekend?
This was the craziest storm that we've seen in 5 years of living here. So it was insane. We lost power Friday and we got it for a few hours back on Saturday. But that Saturday night, we were laying in bed and we were just listening to the trees fall and praying that our cars were okay and that our house would be okay. And
I didn't want to go out and move my car. It was under a tree, but I didn't feel safe going underneath the tree because it might snap.
And we got
a bunch of trees down on our yard. It hit our bunkie. We got to fix our bunkie roof.
Yeah, wow. We're lucky. We're fortunate enough that we have a generator, so we do have power. But on Friday, we lost the power, right? So we were prepared for the storm, but we ran out of propane really quickly. So that Saturday or that Sunday morning, he had to go out. And when he went out, there was literal trees on our...
Yeah, I had to cut 2 trees. I had to cut 2 trees down to help some girls get out of their Airbnb. And
it was absolutely insane. And he had to drive an hour away to even get gas because everywhere was dried up by the time we went out looking for it. So it's really hard to even get gas right now. You need to have cash, which I know so many of us don't have cash living in this, cashless society. So we had to dip into one of our piggy banks actually to get cash out and spend it on gas and propane. So now we're good again. But the cleanup in our backyard alone is ridiculous. We have a tree falling down right in front of us. I can show you.
Yeah, because I'm looking at some of the images that you already sent, but okay, now these are
right from our living room window, you can see that tree falling down. And on our bunkie porch, you can see a bunch of branches on there. And that's just our backyard. Our front yard is absolutely ridiculous as well. We live in a very forested area, actually. So our front yard has a bunch of trees down. We have a telephone wire down. We have a branch.
Our neighbor's car got hit. It's buried right now. We're going to have to cut it free.
And that's it, too. We had to help our neighbors with his generator as well, because it's just the whole community is impacted right now. So it's crazy to see, that's for sure.
All the neighbors help though. We live out in the country, so we all like to help each other.
Yeah, for sure.
I know that about people in I know lots of people who live in your area, and that's everyone helps everyone, and it's wonderful to see. But Kelsey, what was it like? You talked a little bit about like what it was like hearing the trees falling outside while being in the dark. That just must have been very strange.
It was terrifying. Yeah. It was simply terrifying, because at that point we have run out of propane, so it's just silent everywhere, and all you can hear are these trees crashing down, and like everyone knows, trees are loud. So it was a pretty scary experience. I know I had a lot of anxiety, and I was laying with him like, what is going on right now? Like, I hope that, like I said, we have so many trees. Any tree could come through and hit our window and come into our house. Like, we just feel very grateful that the trees that fell were not ones near our actual home. They're ones, in our backyard.
And I'm sure a lot of the damages we had were minimal compared to some.
Yeah, honestly.
We're seeing some of your videos there. You look like you're having a little fun, kind of skating on the deck in your shoes as well. I guess you're making the most of it.
We actually had friends over when it happened.
Yeah, we had no idea it was going to turn into what it did. We had a little impromptu hockey night, and they were slip and sliding. They're from the city, right? So they don't get to see that very often either. But you come into the country, and it's crazy out here.
It's crazy. I mean, just looking at some of this video, it's really something. And so you must have been really quite fearful, right? That these trees were going to fall on your house, and then
terrified.
And the power, is the power still out? And is it?
Oh, the power is still out 90% of Kawartha Lake. So I believe 4,000. I read that on the Facebook community page that Hydro One had posted on our page. So apparently 90% of Kawartha is still out of power. Only 4,000 people have been restored, and we could be looking at Wednesday earliest getting our power back. And for some people that aren't fortunate enough to have a generator, like that's crazy. That's people's food in their fridge and their freezers going bad. So I just hope that everyone is safe.
Yeah, I hope everyone is safe too. I mean, can you get out? Like, I mean, aren't there like trees down on the roads?
We can now that we chop some of the trees down, me and a few of the neighbors, but there's a lot of areas that aren't.
There's a lot of live wires down, but that's why we have this community page, and everyone's been really good putting in all the information that we need to get around. So we have this Facebook Kawartha Lakes message board that people post on, and they talk about the roads not to go near right now because of the live wires down. They talk about blockages, or just where it's like really high trafficked areas right now where you can get gas. And most places you have to go into Bowmanville to get gas right now, which is an hour away from us, because out here it's all dry, or they're just not open, or they're only taking cash, and it's just, there's a lot going on right now.
Wow, it's probably a good hour and a half lineup at Canadian Tire in Lindsay.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
And then they dried up by the time I got through it, so I had to go to Bowmanville.
Well, I like how you're keeping good spirits about this. I'm sure it is stressful, but I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us, and hope that the power comes back on soon, and that you get through this sooner rather than later.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for having us. And we just feel like, if we can stay as positive as possible and help other people right now, that's what we want to do, right? We're fortunate to
all the neighbors come together, and I help my neighbor get his generator up and running, and that's it.
And that's
all we can do is help each other in times like this.
Yeah, nicely said. All right. Thank you both very much, Kelsey and Cody McDonald. Thank you. Now, that ice storm that pummeled parts of Ontario is now moving across the Maritimes. Environment Canada has issued a freezing rain warning for most of New Brunswick. Between 5 and 10 millimeters throughout the day will make roads slick and difficult, getting anywhere difficult. Prince Edward Island is also taking an icy hit. Like New Brunswick, all schools are closed today across BEI. It's the same story for northern Nova Scotia, including Cape Breton, where there are some school closures today. The biggest accumulation is actually expected tomorrow along the Atlantic coast.